Hello and welcome to the Daily Beans for Tuesday, March 22nd, 2022. Today, confirmation hearings began for Supreme Court nominee Ketanji Brown Jackson. The U.S. Secret Service takes the stand in the Cui Griffin bench trial. A witness tells the January 6th committee that Meadows helped organize the march on the Capitol. And some Reuters reporters tell Politico they're over the Reuters partnership with Russian media partner TASS. I'm Allison Gill.
And I'm Dana Goldberg.
Hey, Dana. Hello. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday to you. I love that I said that my name was new to me. And I'm Dana Goldberg. Like, look at that.
Oh, wow.
Well, there you have it. Every time I feel like I say it differently. I'm just trying to mix it up, people. Just trying to mix it up.
Tomorrow, just be like, I'm Dana Goldberg.
I'm Dana Goldberg.
Who put a question mark in the teleprompter? Whatever you put in there, Ron Burgundy will read.
Oh my God, so funny.
Today I had a small dream come true. I got to talk with Marie Yovanovitch, former ambassador to Ukraine, who testified in the first impeachment trial of Donald John Trump. Now,
congratulations. Well done, my friend.
She's just an incredible, she's a hero to me. She is a hero to me. 33 years in the Foreign Service, just absolute hero. And it's just incredible talking to her. And her book is out now. It's called Lessons from the Edge. I highly recommend everybody grab it. It's a top contender for the next book club as soon as we finish Go Back to Where You Came From and other helpful recommendations on how to become an American by Wajahat Ali. First episode is out this past Sunday. All right, we have a lot of news to get to. Let's hit the hot notes. Hot notes. All right, top story today, and I decide what top stories are because the real top story is that Ketanji Brown Jackson has been nominated first Black woman in history to the Supreme Court of the United States. But I'm going to slide a story in before that, so I just want everyone to know I understand that is the top story of the day. But today, from Hunter Walker at Rolling Stone, Hunter Walker writes, Donald Trump's White House chief of staff and national campaign spokesperson were involved in efforts to encourage the president's supporters to march on the Capitol. That's according to a person who says he actually overheard a key planning conversation between top Trump officials and the organizers of the January 6th rally on the Ellipse, and has since testified to House investigators about the phone call. Trump and his allies have tried to minimize his role in calling supporters to the Capitol and argue he was simply participating in lawful, peaceful demonstrations. Scott Johnston, who worked on a team that helped plan the Ellipse rally, says that's just not the truth. He claims that leading figures in the Trump administration and campaign deliberately planned to have crowds converge on the Capitol, where the 2020 election was being certified, and, quote, make it look like they went down there on their own, unquote. Johnson says he overheard Mark Meadows, that's former chief of staff who's under state investigation for voter fraud and federal criminal investigation for contempt of Congress, Johnson overheard Mark Meadows talking with Katrina Pearson, that's Trump's national campaign spokeswoman, and Kylie Kramer, that's the executive director of Women for America First PAC, and that they were talking about plans for a march to the Capitol. Johnston said the conversation was clearly audible to him since it took place on speakerphone as he drove Kramer between the group's rallies. Fuck my life. According to Johnston, Meadows, Pearson, and Kramer discussed the possibility of setting up a permit to make the march from the White House to the Capitol official. He says the trio decided against officially permitting the march, citing concerns, and remind you, this is Mark Meadows on this call, citing concerns about security costs and about the optics of a sitting president organizing a push towards Congress as lawmakers certified his loss in the 2020 election. It could look bad if we permitted it. Ultimately, Johnston tells Rolling Stone they plan to, quote, direct the people down there and make it look like they went down there on their own. Johnson's account suggests there was a deliberate strategy by Trump allies to have supporters descend on the Capitol. Such a connection would implicate top White House and campaign officials in drawing crowds to Congress without a permit, a step that could have required added security and may have allowed law enforcement to better prepare for the day's events, quote unquote, day's events. Those crowds overwhelmed the Capitol. Police overwhelmed the Capitol. They overwhelmed the police. They overwhelmed just the barricades and engaged in an hours-long battle with law enforcement. And 4 people died, as we know, during that attack. 140 officers were injured. On December 20th, 2021, Johnston testified to the House Select Committee investigating. And he provided Rolling Stone multiple pieces of documentation showing his interactions with the committee. Johnson also told investigators he knew the call took place on a burner phone in the final days of 2020. And the reason he knows that is because he's the one who bought the fucking burner phones.
I mean, come on.
And it was actually Keighley Kramer who directed him to purchase 3 phones for that group. I'm wondering if that group includes Mark Meadows.
Oh, my God.
The committee is seeking Meadows' phone records via subpoena sent to Verizon, but of course he's sued to block that subpoena, and that case is ongoing.
Well, the reason I would say that maybe Meadows wasn't a burner phone recipient is because he blocked to have his phone records subpoenaed at Verizon. Otherwise, he wouldn't care. He'd be like, sure, get my phone records. It's not on there. Yeah, but you're a jackass and probably used your own phone for the call.
Yeah, and he also we know that he used encrypted messaging apps, which, I'm sorry, that's a fucking violation of the Presidential Records Act. Anyway. I hope he's under investigation for it.
Yes. I love this story because I was watching some of it. Anyway, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, the first Black woman nominated to serve on the Supreme Court, vowed to make the words inscribed on its edifice, quote, equal justice under the law, a reality and not just an ideal. That was in her opening remarks to the Senate Judiciary Committee on Monday. Judge Jackson's 51 years old, began by first thanking God and then people who brought her to the threshold of history. She started with her parent. I was in tears.
I know.
She started with her parents, recalling her father's decision shortly after her birth to relocate from Florida to Washington, D.C. to escape racism and, quote, experience new freedom. She noted that the spirit of public service they instilled in their children led her into a judicial career and inspired her younger brother to join the Army after the terrorist attacks on September 11th, 2001. He served 2 tours in the Middle East. And this is a quote, I cannot possibly thank them enough for everything they've done for me, she said as they watched, I love you, Mom and Dad. Mm-hmm. Judge Jackson also reminded those watching the hearing that she, like Justice Amy Coney Barrett, or Aunt Lydia, as I like to affectionately call her, was appointed by President Donald J. Trump in 2020 and is the mother of school-age children. Now, I know it has not been easy. This is a quote. I know it has not been easy as I've tried to navigate the challenges of juggling my career and motherhood, she told her 2 daughters. And she, even as she was speaking candidly, said, and I didn't always get that balance correct. I mean, it was beautiful. Her opening statements were beautiful. Yeah. Judge Jackson.
Mm-hmm. I was riveted. I was just...
And the story about coloring with her father, I mean, tears. Okay, Judge Jackson, who joked about her propensity for writing lengthy decisions, was notably economical in expressing her worldview and judicial philosophy. In remarks that lasted just under 15 minutes, she committed to adopt a, quote, neutral stance, if confirmed, and promised to continue to produce expansive, transparent opinions so that each litigant knows that the judge in their case has heard them, whether or not the arguments prevail. Now, Judge Jackson spoke late on Monday afternoon after hours of alternating celebrations of her achievements by Democrats and probing attacks from Republican leaders who have acknowledged they do not have the votes to stop her. Now, one by one, they logged a range of criticisms, including her work on behalf of defendants in criminal cases and her seat on the board of a school that, quote, pushes an anti-racist education program for white families. That's according to the racist Senator Marsha Blackburn, a Republican from Tennessee.
Who, by the way, is well known for winning 5th prize in a beauty contest.
Hey, she touts that shit. Now, Judge Jackson did not address any of those issues in her prepared remarks. She was attentive, however, to more conventional conservative criticism that she would use her power on the high court to impose liberal policies without appropriate judicial restraint. Lindsey Graham particularly was an asshole during this time. I think he brought up Kavanaugh 15 times. And of course, the judge he wanted in that was not nominated, he is just salty. My God, he's so salty about Kavanaugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's on the court. He's sitting on the goddamn court. Excuse me. I know that offends some people. He's sitting on the court. So.
Yeah, I know. It's like, what are you? And Ted Cruz was also a phenomenal dick today.
Oh, yeah. Well, today. You don't even need today. Ted Cruz was a phenomenal dick.
Born and raised. Okay. Up next, remember we've been talking about this Cui Griffin case. It's a bench trial, which means it's not in front of a jury. It's just in front of a judge. The judge is Trevor McFadden.
Oh my God.
Trump appointee. And the whole argument that he claims was that, hey, when I was at the Capitol, I wasn't on restricted grounds because restricted grounds are defined by who's there. A head of state has to be there. And I don't think Pence was there. I think he was taken somewhere away from the Capitol complex. And so I can't be charged with misdemeanor trespassing. And so the Coui's defense said, hey, yeah, we need to cross-examine and ask the Secret Service where they took Pence. We have to know exactly where he was, because the government here is saying, that he was trespassing, and their whole case is based on where Pence was. And the government's like, we don't want you asking the Secret Service shit, dude. We don't want to give away sources and methods. Just fuck off. Look, it doesn't matter because Pence was going to come back. I'm paraphrasing, by the way.
Yeah.
Pence was going to come back.
I hope
anyway.
You're not. I really actually hope you're not.
Because Pence, this might actually be how it went down, but, that Pence was going to come back. It doesn't matter. We don't want to tell you where our secret spots are for when we whisk people away from danger, dumbass. And but Trevor said, no, they do have to answer questions about Pence's location because your case hinges on this. And they said, oh, fine. So that witness got up on the stand today, and they just basically asked, where was the vice president? And the government asked, the government was like, where? We took him to the loading dock. Where's that? It's underneath the Senate side of the Capitol. It's within the restricted part of the grounds. And it's like, okay, is everyone fine now? Can we go home?
Oh my God.
Like all of that back and forth and filing after filing and after filing for a fucking misdemeanor trespass charge. And then here just comes the Secret Service lady saying, yeah, it was in the loading dock. Everyone knows that. It was reported by Yahoo News, and they were down there, and that's
what a waste of time and money.
Yeah, I know. But we'll see what Trevor is the one who makes the call on this, because, like I said, it's a bench trial. It's not in front of a jury, and it's just a couple of misdemeanors, so he's probably going to get like probation. You got to go clean up dog shit or something for a week. Who knows?
We'll see. All right, AG, thank you for catching us up on that. There's so much joy in the news today. This one, we've got employees, one of the most well-known newswire services. They are privately fuming over their company's ongoing partnership with a Russian state-controlled media organization that has published unverified information about the war in Ukraine. Now, multiple journalists at Reuters told Politico that staff are frustrated and embarrassed by the company's continued partnership with TASS. And that's a wire service owned by Russian government. So the relationship dates back just to 2020, when the Newswire first announced a partnership to distribute content from the state-owned news organization. That move raised some eyebrows among staff at Reuters at the time. You think? But it passed largely unnoticed by people outside the company.
No, I noticed.
Of course.
I was like,
you noticed.
Excuse me? Fucking hello?
You're not just anybody outside the company.
That's true.
Now, in the wake of Ukraine invasion, more scrutiny is being placed on this agreement now, of course, including from Reuters' their own employees. Everyone's like, what the fuck? In a quote, they said it was an embarrassment when the partnership was signed 2 years ago. That's from one Reuters reporter. And that's what they told Politico. They went on to say, now it's just wrong. And the silence from the top is worrying. And it may be the worst part because no one's saying anything. So according to two Reuters journalists who spoke to Politico on the condition of anonymity, in order to candidly discuss internal matters, some staff has sought answers from higher-ups about why Reuters continues to distribute TASS via its business-to-business service, Reuters Connect. That allows news organizations that pay for the wire service to access and share TASS's content. Now, Reuters staff have specifically expressed concern about TASS's uncritical reporting, so they're not fact-checking shit, of the information from Russian government, which critics and media experts say it's basically just propaganda. So the news' organization ties to the Russian government, they haven't always been purely of a journalistic nature either, if you will. Now, both the Daily Beast and the Washington Post, they previously reported that the U.S. law enforcement officials believe TASS worked with Russia's foreign intelligence service to attempt to gather sensitive information on markets and finance from New York City. Now, there's at least one news organization that TASS ties had taken a different approach. Earlier this month, Getty Images ended its relationship with TASS for violating the photo service's editorial policies, saying that it plans to remove all TASS content when their current agreement is over. And I appreciate that, even though they're just images. It would be really nice if Reuters got their shit together.
Yeah, I've been tweeting about this. Like, what the fuck, bro?
Yep.
Reuters is bro. And you're a Getty image, by the way. I've seen
I am a Getty image. There's several images of me on Getty. If anyone's interested, you could Google Dana Goldberg. Just make sure you put in comedian. Otherwise, the producer comes up, which is really funny.
I love that story.
Yeah.
It should be in your book when you write it. All right, that is the news for today. We're going to be right back with Marie Yovanovitch, who, former ambassador extraordinary and plenipotentiary to the Ukraine. And, she's the one who is why we say the words, they're going to go through some things, because that's what Donald Trump said about her when she was trying to stop corruption, and corruption by way of like Rudy Giuliani and Gordon Sondland and Rick Perry and all that. So
love it. Oh, love it.
So we're going to talk to her, and you need to grab her book as soon as you can. It's called Lessons from the Edge, whenever you get a chance. So we'll be right back with that interview, and then Dana, I'll see you on the other side for good news.
Looking forward.
MSW Media.